to the September edition of the Digital Dealer Exclusives for 2025, the Mystery Quilt Wallflower. Are you ready to see this month's reveal of our block? So if you remember, this was our hint for September. We saw flowers, oranges, some brown, and here is our little guy. This month we are making two little hedgehogs, groundhogs, something along that line. A fuzzy little chenille animal, let's just put it that way. So this month we are making two. We are going to be using a 4x4 hoop if you are not quilting as you go. If you are doing the quilting as you go, you're going to need at least your large oval, your midi hoop, or a small clamp hoop if you are in the Bernina world. Basically kind of a 5x7 embroidery field if you're not. We're going to need some light mesh cutaway if you are quilting in the hoop. If you are not quilting in the hoop, you're going to need your medium cutaway. We will need some fusible backing to apply to the backside of our background and to the backside of the light brown fabric that is in our kit. We're going to be using thread colors charcoal, which are the eyes and the nose, the brown for the body, the gold for the nose portion, and the background color in quilting is cream. So let's go ahead and take a look at what our kit looks like. All right. So our background fabric is this peach floral. We need to apply a piece of fusible woven to the back side of this piece. You're going to need a piece of batting. If you have been doing the altered batting technique, it needs to be a 4-inch square. If you are not doing that way and you're trimming your batting in place, you'll need at least 5 inches or larger. We have a very small piece of kind of light brown fabric. You need to apply a piece of fusible woven to the back side of it. And then we have 4 pieces of the dark brown. They do not need anything applied to them. We are going to take our design and we are going to open up the quilting design, which is the 4x4 horizontal in floral 11. So when you look at the design, the flowers should travel left to right inside of the hoop. We are going to open up and add the groundhog design or hedgehog design to that background quilting, and we're going to leave them centered. Now remember that in the world of Bernina, when you open a design, as long as you do not move it anywhere in the hoop, when you add another design to it, they will remain 100% centered on top of each other. So all you need to do, like we've done in previous months, is open the quilting and then add the embroidery design to it. Now in our hoop, we're going to need some light mesh cutaway to fill our hoop if you are quilting. If you are not quilting, you are going to do your traditional embroidery. We're going to hoop a piece of medium cutaway stabilizer, tape our fabric centered to the middle of that stabilizer, and then put it into the machine. So let's head over here and take a look at the machine. All right, so my poly mesh or my light mesh is in the hoop. I have threaded my machine with cream colored thread. I've gone ahead and I have run color stop 1 and color stop 3. That is if you're doing my technique of your quilting already being trimmed or your batting already being trimmed. So the first inner block, color stop 1, is telling you where to put your piece of batting. You can use a little bit of glue, spray glue, glue stick, anything like that to hold that in place. And then color stop 3 is going to let you know where to place your background fabric, making sure that your fabric extends beyond all of that. Once you've made sure that your background fabric is covering all of the placement line, you can go ahead and run color stop 4. Color stop 4 is going to baste our background fabric in place. Background's now in place. The next color stop in the design is color stop 5, which is going to be our quilt design. We're going to go ahead and run that into our basted background fabric. Now once our quilting is done, before we change any thread colors, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work through appliquing our face. So our face piece is the smaller light piece. It's going to be covered with a satin stitch, so we don't necessarily need to change the thread color to something that is going to match, because everything right this second is going to be completely covered. If we've combined designs with the quilting, our numbering is going to be different from what you see here on the screen and what you may see in your instructions. So for color stop 6, we're going to stitch the face placement line. We will then place our fabric right side up. Color stop 7 will be our tack down. We will then trim this piece, and color stop 8, we will change our thread color to the tan, which for me will be color number 851, and I'm going to run the cover stitch. Once the cover stitch is complete, you're going to change your thread color to your charcoal, for me, which is 4174, and I'm going to complete the nose and eye fill color stop, which will be color stop 9. The next part of our embroidery design is going to be creating the base of our body, and then it will be the chenille portion. So we have to do this in 2 steps. These next few steps that we're getting ready to complete are going to be using 1 piece of the brown fabric. We are going to work through appliquing the body of his, the base of his body. So we're going to stitch a placement line. We're going to place 1 piece of brown fabric right side up. We are going to then tack that down, and we're going to trim as close to the stitching line as we can. Now you're going to notice that it's kind of a jaggedy little line. You got lots of little valleys and peaks. Do not spend too much time fussing over trying to get into every little nook and cranny, because this design is going to be covered with a decorative stitch around the outer layer, the decorative outline. So it's really going to cover a majority of it, and ultimately this is going to be fuzzy in our end result, and you're not going to really be able to see all of those little nooks and crannies to begin with. So we're going to head over to the machine. I've changed out to my dark brown thread, or the thread that I'm going to use for my body. I'm going to run my placement line, which is color stop number 10 if you've combined. I'm then going to lay this right side up. We are then going to run color stop 11, which is going to tack this down, and then we're going to trim it. There is my trim design. I'm going to return this to the machine and we are going to run the decorative stitch that is going to stitch and cover up this outer edge. Now once our outer decorative stitch is finished, we're going to take the 3 remaining pieces of brown. We're going to stack them up one on top of the other. They would be all right side up. Now these are solid, so there really is no right or wrong. All right side up. You can tape them in place if you like. And then we're going to run the color stop that is going to baste these in place. Once we're basted, we're going to take the hoop off the machine and we're going to come and we're going to trim the 3 layers that we just basted in place around. If you can't cut all 3 layers at once, that's just fine. There's nothing wrong with cutting 1 layer at a time. And again, do not fuss too much with the nooks and crannies. Don't worry if you accidentally trim or clip a basting stitch, because after we are all done trimming all of this, we have 1 color stop to do, and then we're going to be removing this basting stitch. So don't stress too much about making it too pretty or clipping a stitch. There's all the layers trimmed. We are going to take our hoop, we are going to return it to the machine, and we are going to stitch our spine lines. When our design is complete, we're going to take the hoop off the machine. I'm not going to take the design out of the hoop quite yet. We're going to come over to the table and you're going to need a seam ripper. Now, using your seam ripper, we are going to remove that outer basting stitch that's holding down the design, the brown fabric. So we're just going to work through carefully removing just that basting stitch all the way around the outer edge of that brown. Once our basting line is out, we're going to take a pair of scissors and we're going to cut the 3 layers in between each one of those particular channels. Now, I recommend using a standard pair of like small straight scissors. Don't try to use your embroidery scissors or anything like that. These were really meant for just trimming threads and maybe 1 layer of fabric, not necessarily 3 layers. So you just want to make sure that you're not cutting into your base layer, but we're just going to take a pair of scissors and do a couple of snips inside of each channel. Our next step is to fluff our chenille. And there's a lot of ways to fluff chenille. You can lightly spray it . Before you do this, you can use a nail file to do this. You can use a semi sturdy vegetable brush. This is an old chenille brush that I've had for ever, but it's just like a vegetable brush. Your scrub daddies, any sort of like scouring pad, I mean, not Brillo, but would work. And we just kind of work in circles. She recommends taking a piece of tape and kind of covering up the face of your animal so that you don't grab a hold of any of those satin stitches or the eye and cause any loops. But I just I do it dry, but you can add a little wet. And I just work in circles. Got any long threads or anything like that, you can give it a haircut. Once your chenille is fluffed, you can go ahead and take your item out of the hoop, and we are going to go and trim it to size. We're going to use our orange pop rulers to square up this block. We're going to use our 4.5 inch square, kind of center our design inside of that 4.5 inch square. You will see that the quilting design that basted our background down is there, but it's not always accurate. It should be 4.5, but because of push and pull of the embroidery design, it can skew it. So I never rely exactly on that basting box as true measurement. So just be cautious. Don't always just rely on that. So I'm going to take my 4.5 inch orange pop, center it over that, kind of using that basting as a guide. Then use my 6.5 so that I have more space to hold. And then I'm going to cut all the way around this block. Are we ready for a peek as to what our hint for the month of October is? Here we go. We see purple butterflies, some flowers, and we'll have to wait until the first of the month to see what this hint will lead to. And once you're trimmed, you're going to repeat this process and to make another one, and you will make 2 of your hedgehog, groundhogs, furry little creatures for the month of September for our Wallflower mystery quilt. And I hope that you have a wonderful month, and we'll see you back here real soon. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any other videos that Material Girls puts out for you.